Hello, welcome to Gus McDoll Strategy and Tactics, and thank you to our subscribers. In this series, we play through the 16 operations of the German Grand Campaign in Close Combat 3, the Russian Front. Please remember to subscribe, comment, share, and like the video. And if you want to show your support with a donation, the links are in the description. It is day 2 of 6 on Operation 15 of 16. Battle Briefing. Hermann Goring attacks, holding back the tide. Now you must complete the next step in smashing the Russians back across the Vistula River. Your objective is to secure the road that winds through the sector. Reinforcements will use the route to continue hounding the Bolshevists. Your command will continue to be attached to the Hermann Goring Panzer Division. Refit or replace your teams. Add more armour if you can. Reconnaissance reports state that an enemy force, including tanks, is waiting beyond the hills. The two hills in your possession, 204 and 193, give you excellent fields of fire. Use one or both of these hills to support your advance. If you have anti-tank guns, position them with care and so you can destroy the enemy armour before it can engage your armour. The muddy ground makes rapid movement tricky, so don't rely on a single piece of armour to carry out an attack. Keep applying the pressure. You can crack the enemy's defences. We start the operation with the same forces from the last battle. Von McDoll, Command Panzer 5G. Group Leader, Kommando Behörden 1943. Heavy Infantry, Fallschirmjäger Sturmgrenadier 1943. Heavy Infantry, Sturmgrenadier 1943. Heavy Infantry, Sturmgrenadier 1943. Heavy Tank Destroyer, Elephant, Sonderkraftfahrzeug 184-2. Medium Tank, Panzer 5G, Panther G. Heavy Tank, Panzer 6E, Tiger 1. Armoured Car, Puma, Sonderkraftfahrzeug 234-2. Armoured Car, Puma, Sonderkraftfahrzeug 234-2. Heavy Anti-Tank Gun, 8.8cm, Flak 36. Gun crew for the second heavy anti-tank gun, 8.8cm Flak 36. Medium mortar, 8cm Granatwerfer. Heavy machine gun, Schweres Maschinengewehr 42, 1943. Heavy machine gun, Schweres Maschinengewehr 42, 1943. We now have 131 requisition points at our disposal. Let's see what upgrades are available. I don't have enough points to replace casualties, replace equipment, and upgrade the Tiger. First, let's replace casualties in the Heavy Infantry Fallschirmjäger Sturmgrenadier 1943. Second, refit the 8.8cm Flak 36 for 68 points. And bring it off rest. This does not leave enough points to upgrade the Tiger 1 to a King Tiger. Next time, perhaps. And that is Kampfgruppe McDoll. Let's examine the terrain and develop a plan. In reality, the road from Grabnowola to Studzianki is a straight north-south road through flat farmland. But here, the road from Grabnowola to Studzianki is a winding east-west road that crosses a small tributary of the Radomka River at a marshy ford overlooked by hills. I have marked 5 areas. Number 1, Hill 204. This hill to the west overlooks the river and ford and the road from Grabnowola. The bare ridge atop the hill provides excellent observation but no concealment other than the reverse slope. The area to the west is suitable as a forming up point. Number 2, the river. This small tributary of the Radomka is just wide and deep enough to be impassable to infantry and vehicles. The muddy banks are likely to bog vehicles, and the thick reeds and vegetation on either side could conceal infantry lying in ambush. Number 3. The ford. At this point, the river becomes narrow and shallow enough to cross without a bridge. The ford is overlooked by 3 hills. Troops or vehicles crossing the ford are likely to slow down, so this area is a great ambush point. Number 4. Hill 193 to the north. This hill provides observation over the ford as well as the other hills. It could be used for observation or supporting fire, but the shape of the hill does not really give any terrain shielding, and the hill is cut off by 2 small streams. And number 5, Hill 208 to the east. Much like Hill 204, it looks over the road and ford and could be used as a supporting fire location. It also provides terrain shielding to the east, and this area could be used as a forming up point. The grassy hill is bare of trees, offering no concealment. Key terrain includes Hill 204, Hill 193 and Hill 208, all of which offer command of the ground. The ford across the river is the only avenue of approach in this sector. The enemy are in defence and are likely to seek to delay German forces in their advance on Studzianki and beyond to Magnesev and the Vistula River. The ford is an ambush point, albeit a very obvious ambush point. Ideally, the Soviets would want to catch the Germans in the process of crossing the ford, with their forces split either side of the river and the soft marshy ground fixing them in place. A dismounted observer on Hill 193 could monitor German progress and alert the Soviets to the best time to spring the ambush. Hill 204 is an obvious location for German overwatch on the ford. Soviet artillery or mortar indirect fire would blind the hill with a smoke mission. Then switch to high explosive at the ford to cause maximum confusion and force any infantry to go to ground. Soviet armoured vehicles would then spring the ambush, cresting Hill 208 and pouring fire into the hapless Germans below. Depending on the results of the ambush, the Soviets could either stay and destroy German supporting fires on Hill 204 or withdraw to the east before the smoke clears. To get across the river, the Germans need to dominate Hill 193 and Hill 208 before committing their forces. It is true that the ridge on Hill 204 is an obvious overwatch location and vulnerable to indirect fire or obscuration. But the 3 8.8cm guns in the anti-tank detachment are the most effective weapon against the heavy Soviet tanks we've started to encounter. And there is no better place for the guns than the support by fire position on Hill 204. The low ground simply does not offer the lines of fire necessary to dominate the ford. But I will spread the guns out as much as possible. The panzers, led by von McDowell, will move to an attack by fire position on the northern part of Hill 204. Both positions will secure the ford and adjacent hills. The mortar will be in defilade on the reverse slope of Hill 204 and fire a smoke mission to obscure the area around the ford. Once these positions are set, the infantry will move up to and cross the ford, covered by an MG42 on either flank. The infantry will then take Hill 208 and observe to the east, allowing the panzers to cross and assault ford. This will create enough space on the far bank of the river to allow the remainder of the Kampfgruppe to follow. The 2 Puma will form the mobile reserve. Infantry-tank cooperation. When the enemy has well-prepared positions with natural or constructed tank obstacles, the German infantry attacks before the tanks and clears the way. The objective of the infantry is to penetrate into the enemy position and destroy enemy anti-tank weapons to the limit of its strength and the firepower of its own support weapons, augmented by additional support and covering fire from the tanks and self-propelled weapons sighted in their rear. August 1944, on the road to Studzianki. The tanks have stopped in some light woods for a short halt. Ahead, the road disappears behind a hill. According to the map, there is a ford across the river on the other side. Grabbing a machine pistol and 2 of his men, von McDowell leaves the tanks and goes for a scout along the riverbank. He reaches a vantage point, studies the nearby hills, and concludes it is a good spot for an ambush. On the walk back to the tanks, he prepares his orders. I have now moved my troops into position and will execute the plan in real time. Let me know in the comments below what you think of the various courses of action and if you've identified a viable alternative. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more great strategy and tactics content. And so we begin. Achtung Panzer! The captured Panzer IV F2 is immobilized on the road to Studzianki. The Granatwerfer commences a smoke mission. Von McDowell's panzers advance to their attack by fire position. The captured panzer has popped smoke. And something has fired smoke at the German support by fire position on Hill 204. The infantry begin their assault. Achtung Panzer!
Seine Panzerung ist zu stark. Truppe umgruppiert. Seine Panzerung ist zu stark.
A JSU 152 on Hill 193. The anti-tank guns and panzers all concentrate their fire. More Soviet tanks. JS2 on the spur of Hill 208. The Granatwerfer is out of smoke. It fires high explosive at Russian infantry fleeing from the riverbank. The JS2 is hit and destroyed. The captured Panzer IV F2 is hit and destroyed. An Su-152 is to the west on the road to Studzianki. It is hit and destroyed. Russian artillery fire is hitting Hill 204. Russian infantry east of the ford are taking casualties. German infantry advance to the ford. Waldmann's MG42 moves up in support. Minor victory. The battle ended because the Russians fled the battlefield. The Germans gained control of the area and will advance. The Germans took no losses in men or equipment. Russian losses were 6 killed, 4 wounded, and 4 armoured vehicles destroyed. Let's examine the Kampfgruppe. Newly promoted Lieutenant Feuchtinger is awarded the Iron Cross Second Class, his 4th. He jokes he should be able to trade them in for an Iron Cross First Class. Von McDowell, with his 3 Knight's Crosses, laughs, but says nothing in reply. Unteroffizier Ollerich in the Elephant is awarded his 4th War Merit Badge. Feuchtinger is credited with a tank kill. Unteroffizier Ulrich and Gefreiter Klump share credit for a tank kill. Gefreiter Stoller and newly promoted Major Baumann share credit for a third tank kill, the gun crew's 21st. Thankfully, no casualties. So, what did we learn? When crossing a river, it is first and foremost important to secure the area on both sides of the river. What this means is that the enemy must not be able to put direct fire or observe indirect fire onto the crossing point. In this case, Hill 193 and Hill 208 could put direct fire or observe indirect fire onto the ford. So, the Germans needed to secure these hills by denying them to the enemy. They achieved this with direct fire from the anti-tank guns and panzers. Once the Soviet tanks on Hill 193 and Hill 208 were destroyed, as well as the tanks along the road, the Soviet position collapsed. The crossing point was secure, and the battle ended because the Russians fled the battlefield. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and donate, and stay tuned for the next episode.